Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. This is the fourth of 7 training tapes dealing with targeting. And today we're looking at one of the most common categories, which is hits on receivers. So players in the act of receiving a pass getting hit. And we'll look at what to look for and how to recognize if it's targeting or not. But before we get to the game film, let's have a look to see what the rulebook and the MOFO have to say on this topic. In the rulebook, we go to definitions in 2:27:14. A defenseless player is one who, because of his physical position and focus of concentration, is especially vulnerable to injury. When in question, a player is defenseless. Examples of defenseless players include, but are not limited to: A player in the act of or just after throwing a pass. B, and this is the focus of this training tape, a receiver attempting to catch a forward pass or in position to receive a backward pass, or one who has completed a catch and has not had time to protect himself or has not clearly become a ball carrier. C, a kicker in the act of or just after kicking a ball or during the kick or the return. D, a kick returner attempting to catch or recover a kick, or one who has completed a catch or recovery and has not had time to protect himself or has not clearly become a ball carrier. E, a player on the ground. F, a player obviously out of the play. G, a player who receives a blindside block. H, a ball carrier already in the grasp of an opponent and whose forward progress has been stopped. I, quarterback anytime after change of possession. And finally, J, a ball carrier who has obviously given himself up and is sliding feet first. Rule 235 goes on to define targeting. It says, targeting means that a player takes aim at an opponent for purposes of attacking with forcible contact that goes beyond making a legal tackle or legal block or playing the ball. Some indicators of targeting include, but are not limited to: A, launch. A player leaving his feet to attack an opponent by an upward and forward thrust of the body to make forcible contact in the head or neck area. B, a crouch followed by an upward and forward thrust to attack with forcible contact at the head or neck area, even though one or both feet are still on the ground. C, leading with helmet, shoulder, forearm, fist, hand, or elbow to attack with forcible contact at the head or neck area. And D, lowering the head before attacking by initiating forcible contact with the crown of the helmet. In Rule 913, crown of the helmet is defined. No player shall target and make forcible contact against an opponent with the crown of his helmet. The crown of the helmet is the portion of the helmet above the level of the top of the face mask. This foul requires that there be at least one indicator of targeting. When in question, it is a foul. And 914 says, no player shall target and make forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent with the helmet, forearm, hand, fist, elbow, or shoulder. This foul requires that there be at least one indicator of targeting. When in question, it is a foul. In the MOFO, we go to penalty administration in the points of emphasis. 131E says, if your flag is for targeting, you must have direct verbal communication with at least one other official prior to reporting the foul to the referee. And we finish off in penalty administration under calling fouls. 1911. Number 8 says, if your flag is for targeting, you must have direct verbal communication with at least one other official prior to reporting the foul to the referee. Rarely does targeting occur when there are not multiple views of the action. Because the penalty involves mandatory disqualification, we require this communication to reduce the risk of an incorrect call. And that was the book. Now let's have a look at some game film. On this first play, we're going to get a good example of what was called and should be called right there. So we've got a receiver. He's in the process of catching the ball. He's vulnerable, and here comes the defender. Based on this, you might even be able to talk about crown of the helmet, but it certainly is hitting the defenseless player in the head or neck area, and good call by the back judge. Hope that we also have flags from one or both of the deep wings. I would say for the umpire, don't necessarily go looking for this. I mean, you do a good job of turning around there, but your primary help here should be catch, no catch. You shouldn't necessarily be looking for fouls. Obviously, if you feel you see enough of it, you can go ahead and call it, but you'd never get a downgrade for not calling this, simply because it shouldn't be in your mindset to be looking for fouls when you come around like this. I mean, just like we would never give an umpire a downgrade for not calling pass interference in a situation like this. So your mindset should be help with complete, incomplete. But in any case, very good job to get this targeting call. On this play, we're looking at B9, the safety here, who's going to come across and hit a potential pass receiver right there. And it happens really quickly, and so we have to be ready for this. But right now, as a deep wing or back judge, we have to be ready for this. When the receiver goes across the middle like this or comes down the field, we have to be ready for this type of hit, so it doesn't surprise us. And I think if I manage to freeze it right there, it does appear that the helmet doesn't pop up like that on its own. I think that's because we've got a little bit of, I don't want to say helmet to helmet contact, because that in itself is not illegal, and I'm not sure that this qualifies as a crown of the helmet hit, but it certainly is contact to the head or neck area of this receiver, and I believe this should have been called as a targeting of this defenseless receiver. On this play, we're looking at the left linebacker there, B39, I believe it is. I apologize for the hardly legal jersey numbers there, but it is the linebacker who's going to go into pass coverage, and now he's going to come around there. So initially, it's kind of hard to tell how much forcible contact there is, because the covering cornerback is going to pull the receiver towards the sideline. But I think from this freeze here, I think you can tell that there is quite a displacement of the receiver's helmet, so that takes care of the forcible part of it. And you can also see that the cornerback, or the linebacker in this case, comes in with his head down, so that is the indicator. So really, you could go either targeting a defenseless player who is the pass receiver, or you could go crown of the helmet here. You could go either way. And again, this happens really quickly, so we have to be ready for it when it happens. But this is one that should be called. Now, who can see this? I could easily see how the back judge could be screened off by B24. So we might be asking the deep wing on this side, or maybe even the short wing, to cover this if the back judge is covered. Now, the back judge would have the best angle at this, obviously, but sometimes you get screened off, and somebody else needs to stay up. Somebody needs to step up, and in this case, it would have been good to get this called as it should have been. We're now moving into the legal plays or examples of legal contact, and we'll talk about why it isn't a foul for targeting. Now, there's certainly good potential for it here. We've got the receiver, he's certainly defenseless, and we've got a defensive player lining him up, but I think we can agree that this contact here is legal. We can also see from this angle here, and we'll get an even better shot from the end zone, that his helmet is dipping down first, which typically is an indicator that the forcible contact is in the chest area. So this is legal contact, as we'll be able to see from the end zone shot. And from the end zone view, we get a much better look at basically what the back judge is seeing. And you know, right now we have to be thinking, we have to be ready for a hit. I mean, unless the receiver is in the clear and it's got a clear path towards the end zone, we have to assume that this is going to end in violent contact or forcible contact. And here I think it's quite clear that this is shoulder to torso. We can even see again from this angle that the head goes down, the chin goes towards the chest before anything moves backwards, which I don't even think it does very much here. So again, this is a legal play. Here's another legal play or legal hit, and there are several aspects of this play that are similar to the previous one. First of all, we've got this type of pass where now you know where the ball is going, you know who's going to receive it, and you know the defenders are dialed into him, so you know there's going to be a hit. So you have to be ready for it. Here, I think it's fairly obvious, at least from this angle, that he's coming in with the shoulder first, shoulder to torso again. Good forcible hit, but certainly a legal hit. We're looking at the receiver at the top of the screen, and this one is illegal simply because there just isn't enough forcible contact. I'm sure there is some contact to the receiver's helmet. There might even be some helmet to helmet contact, not that really makes much of a difference. And the receiver certainly is defenseless here, but there just isn't any really good indicator, and there certainly isn't enough forcible contact. And this is not what we're looking for in a targeting call and a good no call by this crew. Here's another legal hit, and this is really as close to perfect as we're going to get. We've got head to the side, shoulders coming in, he's wrapping up, low contact, and this is just a perfect form tackle, and you know, obviously not what we're looking for in a targeting situation. Even though we certainly have all the indicators, the receiver is focused on the ball, we know he's going to take a big hit right here, but this is perfect and this is legal. On this final play, the slot back is going to be the intended receiver, and the safety is going to hit him over the middle. And again, if you're covering this, you know, as soon as he goes across the middle like this, and you know there's a safety deep, you know there's a big potential for big contact. And right there again, perfect form, shoulder into the torso. You can clearly see there the receiver's head, his chin is moving down to his chest, which is a perfect indicator that the contact, the forcible contact, was to the stomach or the chest area. It certainly was not high enough for targeting. So again, this is a legal play, and right there is what we're looking for. So again, this was a situation of a legal play compared to some of the earlier ones where we should have a flag. So that was the training tape. I hope it made sense, and I hope you found something you can use on the field.